Again, I am Des Martinez, adopted name Martinez. I am from Fresno, California, which is Yokut's land. Approximately about 6 years ago, I ended up homeless on the streets of Fresno due to domestic violence. We only had one domestic DV shelter in Fresno, California, and they were completely full all the time. Actually, at that time, 6 years ago, I was not qualified as homeless because I had a car to sleep in. They said the funds that they received from the government did not allow me to go inside because I was not considered homeless by the government's definition of chronically homeless. And that's the only thing that the government was paying out for, was for chronically homeless individuals. So what I ended up doing is I started advocating for myself, for women that were on the streets, for dignity, respect, for safety concerns. There's a lot of sex trafficking and all that stuff that goes through Fresno, through the Central Valley. And a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to be a female and homeless trying to survive on the streets. Literally every night you cannot sleep at night at all. You have to stay up all night in order to survive for the break of dawn the next day.
Oh.
And then you have to stay up all day because the police are harassing you to move as soon as you lay your head down just to get some sleep. So that's what started my activism. I started advocating for myself. I was a homeless photographer. So that was probably the best thing going for me. So I started documenting everything 6 years ago on how hard it was to survive on the streets of Fresno. That led to me being aware that there was no water. There was no water. They were taking all the knobs off. They were locking up the everything. They shut down the fountains that we had there in the city, in the downtown area. They shut down the fountains. So when they ended up started doing all that, I started taking pictures, documenting, writing all this stuff up, put it on Instagram finally. Nobody paid attention because who cares about the homeless, right? But I didn't care because I wasn't doing it for friends. I was doing it for awareness. One thing led to another. Here I am 6 years later. I had gotten a homeless voucher. I have my own apartment now. I'm still on the homeless voucher. So I have my apartment. I've been doing many protests for 6 years. I come to Sacramento once a year to speak to the legislators. I fight my mayor, my police department, CHP, the Fresno sheriff. Like, I'm that one advocate that everybody said probably should have been dead already because the people that I'm going against. But I believe in this is our only safety weapon that we have out here, you guys. When we deal with all the laws, no matter what organization they come from, if you don't have this going live, we can't just record anymore. We have to go live all the time because if they take it from us, it's still live. So they can't erase nothing once you're live. So I learned that that's the only thing that has protected me for this many years. This led me to what is happening in my town right now, you guys. And I wasn't going to speak on this, but because I need to, I don't know what's wrong with it again. Okay. Oh, the little tap. So what's going on? Approximately about 3 weeks ago, I was on Facebook and I seen one of our churches in Fresno remove one of our mentally challenged, unhoused members, female. This was 3 pastors I seen escort her out of the facility. When they did that, they did not just escort her out of the facility, they marched her all the way off the block. Now you have a problem with me. You can have somebody leave your establishment if you want, but once you walked her off the block, that's where I come in as an advocate. So what I ended up doing 2 weeks ago is I went down in front of that church and I sat there with one tent, one chair, by myself because I didn't want any problems. I wasn't there for problems. I was there to stand up for the unhoused, the mistreatment, the mistreatment of the unhoused community by some of our churches. So we have to, okay, I think, hello? So when are it? Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying not to touch it at all. So what ended up happening is that when I was there by myself, one female, 3 pastors came out and told me I had to move. Now I know my rights. I've been doing protests by myself for many years. I know my rights. I measured the sidewalk. I know all my measurements. I got it down. I've been doing it for so long. So I knew I was not impeding anybody's walkway. But see, these 3 men, Christian men that came out of this church, tried to remove me from this sidewalk and have me go somewhere else because they did not want me in front of their church, for one. For 2, I didn't move. I stood my ground. So therefore they said, we will call the police. I said, you go ahead because they're going to tell you the same thing I did. I ain't moving. Well, these 3 officers, male officers that they send out after me, 1 female again, 3 male officers come up and they tell me, they try to violate my rights by telling me I have to move. I have to move. I'm not allowed to be there. I stood my ground with them. Told them that you need to call your sergeant because I know my rights. So they went ahead and they called the sergeant. The sergeant came out and he tried to ask me why would I pick that day and that. Because the church did something wrong to my unhoused street family members. Therefore, I'm going to stand up for her today. Therefore, the sergeant went and told the church, we can't move her. She has the right to be there. Right? Ooh, thankful for that. But what that did is brought us to tomorrow. What that did is that church got so angry with me. They are connected to the Proud Boys. If anybody knows anything about the Proud Boys, you guys are going to understand what's going to happen. So they sent out this guy, and he tried to commit all kinds of crimes on women alone, pulling out his bear mace, threatening us, all this stuff. Well, now he's went national with. Now he's gone national on his little Facebook page, and I'll tell you guys offline so nobody tries to research it or we give him more views than what he needs. But he went on his page, he did a 2-part series on Des Martinez. Supposedly I'm this millionaire. The city's buying my trucks and my houses, and I'm just eating off the homeless money and stuff. And what he doesn't know, I'm living on a homeless voucher. But anyways, he's called out several hundreds of Proud Boys. What? So unfortunately, you guys, I'm gonna have to leave today because I had my team set up for the protest tomorrow in front of this church. Unfortunately, because the city has now contacted me, they're concerned about the safety of everybody. They're trying to violate my rights and say, we're concerned about you, so therefore we are moving you protesters tomorrow, which is unfair. And I can't leave my team alone to deal with what the police are going to do to them tomorrow, let alone what the Proud Boys are going to happen tomorrow. So I appreciate all you guys, but if anybody has any allies, any type of observers, legal observers, peaceful protectors, send them our way tomorrow morning. I have to be standing in front of the Tower Theater tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So I am going to have to leave here now because my phone's been blowing up. Everybody's panicking. The city, the mayor, everybody's involved in this. Fresno, California. Address? In Fresno, California, in the Tower District, at the Tower Theater. I don't have the address on me right now, but it's the only Tower Theater in Fresno, California on Van Ness. So tomorrow morning I will be standing out there at 5 a.m. to make sure that the team and all the people that are trying to show up to protect the unhoused community are not attacked by these Proud Boys. As you guys just see last week in Modesto, they attacked everybody, even a pregnant woman. So we don't pass anything that they're gonna do. I'm just saying we're gonna be peaceful. We're not speaking. I spoke to an attorney and she told me we're in our legal rights to be there on the sidewalk. If we're peaceful protesters and the police are concerned about our safety, they need to remove the Proud Boys. That's what. So if you guys know anybody down there, I'm gonna need definitely some allies, some bodies. So standing there in collaboration, in solidarity with whatever's going to happen tomorrow. So thank you, Anthony, Crystal, everybody, you guys.